This podcast is part of the Frederick Podcast Network. Learn more at listenfrederick.com.
Welcome to Check Bags and Big Tags, the no-filter, no-holds-barred podcast where we spill the truth about globetrotting in style. Buckle up, it's time to see the world differently. Welcome to Check Bags and Big Tags. I'm Ilisa Oman of One World Family Travel, here with Sean.mouttet of Gallivant Luxury Travel. And it's been a couple weeks, but, life gets in the way, and so we're back here. So how are you, Sean?
I'm doing good. Been busy, keeping my head above the water. I had a couple clients traveling in the last couple of weeks, and now everybody's back. So my next wave doesn't start going until the middle of August.
Yeah,
So,
I just had a
um,
bunch return my big, huge trip. I have a huge going out next week. So I'm
yeah,
really working on making sure everything's there. So it's all good.
yeah. So yeah, but it's life. Life keeps us busy, and it's
Yeah, so
hot. It's so hot here. It's like ridiculously hot
it's actually,
that I don't even want to step outside.
I think you have your heat wave that we had last week. Last week we were up like
Yeah.
110. So I think you've got that
And
now.
they said on the news this might last us weeks. I'm like, weeks of this? Oh my God, no.
At least you have access to like a pool. I don't. So, if you,
Yeah.
I
You
am,
don't want to swim in the pool when it gets to this
that's
temperature
true.
because the pool feels like a soup, like a
Yeah,
simmering soup bowl. It's
that's
like
true. So I'd
so
like to toot my own horn for a second, okay, if I may, but I was nominated again for our region's Best of the Best travel and tour services. So, yay.
nice. Yay.
Voting
Do you have
starts.
to vote? Do people vote? When does
They
voting
vote.
start?
Voting hasn't started. I think it starts sometime in the beginning of August. But I've been a
Right.
finalist for 2 years, and some people are like, "Why are you so excited because you're a finalist?" I'm like, "Because I know the person who has won first place forever, ever. She's a
Yeah.
powerhouse. She's a powerhouse agent, and so I'm just very flattered to be in the same realm as her. I should aspire to that. So
Nothing wrong with being nominated, girl. Anybody telling you like why you're so excited?
well, I
Have
mean, I've
fun.
nominated, but I've actually made it into the top three. Um,
Yeah.
for a couple of years, so I'm hoping to at least do that again this year, but I'm very pleased. Just being nominated, I'm very pleased that, over that, so
Yeah.
yeah, so, we've talked a lot about airline delays and airline cancellations and how to handle that, and always when there are issues with the airlines to be patient because everything works out. So I've got a story to illustrate how that can work out. So, as we were just talking about before we got on, my son flew to Prague last week with a couple buddies, and they flew from Dulles, flying British Airways, and had a 3-hour layover at Heathrow in London. Well, first, their flight from Dulles was delayed 2 hours due to weather. We had some crazy weather last week. So by the time they landed in London, they would only have like 45 minutes to try and make their connection, which we knew was not
Hmm.
going to happen. As it so happened, their connecting flight to Prague was canceled, and they were automatically booked onto flights late in the day. So their
Right.
3-hour layover in London actually ended up turning into a 10-hour layover in London. What to do? The three of them immediately got online, applied for the UK ETA, Electronic Travel Authorization,
Hmm.
that you need to enter the UK, got immediate approval, hopped in a cab, and went into London for the day. The cab
Nice.
driver gave them ideas of what to see and where to eat on such a short notice, and they went in and they walked around and they saw the major sites, Buckingham Palace, which my son said was overrated and underwhelming. Um, he said, "Okay, it's okay, Your
And
Majesty."
under construction right now,
He's like,
apparently.
he's like, "It's underwhelming. Okay, Your Majesty, when you come back to your palace here, okay, let's talk."
Yeah.
And they walked around and saw the site.
I thought the White House was underwhelming. The first
White
time
House
I
is
went to
yeah.
DC and I saw the White House, I thought the White House was going to be way bigger than it was, and
So
I was
it's
very
it's
disappointed.
so
So,
funny, the White House, because you watch TV shows and you see like the West Wing, and it's
yeah.
really big inside and all the offices, and they're walking and talking in the business. I've been in the White House many times. I've been in the West Wing of the White House. I've seen the Oval Office and
Yeah.
all that. Nothing like what you see on TV. It's so exaggerated.
No, it's small. It's small. Like
So my son, and then they spent time in London, then they took the tube back to Heathrow and got their flight to Prague. So that is how they turned what could have been problematic into a lemonade out of lemons. They turned a really good day for them. So the moral of the story is when something like that happens, it's not dead time. Having that long layover is not dead time. It's found time if you know how to use it.
I had clients that did a plan that they wanted to leave the airport and they booked this Michelin restaurant in Madrid and all this craziness. And I was freaking out because they would not make it back for their other flight. But they left the airport, they went, they had their lunch and everything, and they got back to the airport in time for their flight. So it took a long layover and they made something out of it and it worked out.
And I was telling you before also we got on, if you're someone that's flying Turkish Airways and your layover is 6 hours or more, now this is a planned layover. It's not an all of a sudden, you
Yeah.
get delays and cancellations, but it's a planned. If you have a layover that's 6 hour or more, you are entitled to a free tour of the city of Istanbul provided by the airline. You are eligible for that. So that's something. But so
Nice.
this is a situation where they had a long layover. It worked out. It turned out to be an extra stop, a fun day. It's also why you should never have anything major planned upon arrival in your city, in your destination.
Yeah, no, definitely not, because people want to plan tours that first day and morning as they get into Europe. But I'm always like, that's not a good idea because anything goes wrong, you are not going to make the tour or whatever plans you're making. So on a travel day, I tell people leave your travel day as a travel day.
Yeah.
Unless they're booking, like I had some of them book like a nighttime tour to the
Right.
Vatican,
And that's
which
one.
was fine.
But
Yeah,
don't
but
try like
anything before 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I am not doing for you
we're
because it's
we're going to Venice next month. And my original thought, because I also travel differently than I recommend for people sometimes. And I
hmm
originally was like, okay, we need to get tickets to the Doge's Palace. Our flight lands at 7:30. We could get
hmm
tickets at like 12 or 1. And I bagged that. I'm like, we're going to use that as an exploration day until our food tour later.
Yeah.
It's an exploration day. Um, so yeah, but you don't plan anything. So it's
Plus, you're so tired. You're so tired from doing the overnight flight that to me, I try not to nap. I want to eat and relax and like have a relaxing time when I first get there. So,
So, moral of the story is travel rarely happens exactly as advertised. And so the question is whether you know how to work with what happens, not just what's printed on your itinerary. How do you handle it? And then that also makes a difference between a tourist and a traveler, how you handle these unexpected changes.
you've
Right.
definitely.
Yeah.
So, for me, if I had to talk about a time this happened, it was when I was very young. You'll know how young and how old I am because we were flying Pan Am
Oh my
back
goodness.
from
Okay.
New York to Trinidad, and they used to have a stop in St. Lucia. And
Mhm.
when the plane landed in St. Lucia, it had mechanical issues. So they sent everybody on the plane. That resort is now a different resort now. I think it's all inclusive down there close to the airport. And they sent us there. We spent 2 days there because they were waiting on the parts for the plane. So we ended up at the end of a Christmas snow vacation, all of us having this like 2 days in St. Lucia at the end of it all. And the airline paid for everything. So nobody was really upset about it,
If someone
and we
complains
had a,
about that, well, I wonder,
yeah.
if you're complaining about that, stop. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but we got that and we stayed. And then when they fixed the plane, we got on the plane, we went back to Trinidad. So it was,
I'd like people to know that these days in 2026, don't count on being sent to an all-inclusive resort for 2 days courtesy.
yeah,
That ain't
exactly.
happening. That ain't happening now, in case anyone's getting excited about that possibility.
Yeah.
So speaking
They'll
of,
give you an airport hotel. Like when I came back from Italy 2 years ago, and I knew my connection was tight in Chicago, right? So I there was a delay coming out of Germany. They did make up time, but by the time we landed in Chicago, they were already rebooking everybody. And the airport hotel they sent us to was such a dump. And by the time we got there, the only way you could get food was this like diner restaurant next door, but that had already closed. It was so late by the time all of us got there. It was so crazy because everybody was up bright and early at 4 o'clock sitting in the lobby waiting to get taken back to the airport because the hotel was so bad. Like when I went downstairs at 4, I thought I'd be the only person there. everybody was awake and ready to go back to the airport.
I remember once I was on a flight, and it was for a work trip, and I was going to Detroit, but due to crazy storms and delays and everything, it literally took me 24 hours to get to Detroit from here. And at one point, we had landed in Cincinnati, which, if people aren't aware, the Cincinnati airport's actually across the border in Kentucky. And we had landed and we were waiting to finally get a flight to Detroit. But then the crew went off duty. So we had to come back the next morning, and it's like midnight. We're taken to a Marriott somewhere. We're like piled into this van trying to get the driver to go through a drive-through at McDonald's or something.
Yeah,
But apparently in Kentucky, nothing's open like at midnight. Like
at midnight, yeah.
everything's open, but you just kind of roll with it. It was
So
definitely
you're stuck hoping there's like a snack machine in the hotel when you get there, you know?
exactly like
It's
where's
like,
the vending machine?
uh,
But you roll with it. It happens. Yeah, now I laugh about the whole experience because it was just a comedy of errors the whole day trying to get to Detroit.
yeah.
I got stories about that whole day, but so anyway, so like we said, travel rarely goes as advertised. And speaking of things that are never quite as advertised, let's talk about a phrase that trips people up all the time in the travel industry. All inclusive. Okay.
Yeah.
That
All inclusive could mean a whole wide array of what's included or not
and a
in an all
lot
inclusive.
it's thrown around in the travel industry a lot. Yeah, your trip is all inclusive, but you really need to look at what all inclusive means because it means very different things amongst modes of travel. For example, the cruise lines versus the resorts. So let's talk about
Yeah, and the cruise lines we kind of have segmented into various markets, just by how we sell them and how clients approach what type of cruise they want to do. So mass market is we would consider like Carnival, Royal Caribbean, and Norwegian.
uh
And they'll have standard fares, and in their standard fare, it's your cabin, your main dining, entertainment, and basic activities.
and some basic
Sometimes it's not
beverages.
just main dining. You'll have like the buffet, and then maybe one
Yes,
or two little kind of burger joints that are
stuff.
included on different
And
cruise
they'll be
ships.
basic beverages like water,
Yeah.
bottled water, but from the
And
machine.
juices at the buffet. You usually can get juice, water, coffee, tea in the buffet area, and water from a machine, not a bottle
And
of bottled water.
And you'll have a
So,
lot of people talk about cruises, and I've heard it thrown around a lot that cruises are great. They're like an all-inclusive vacation, but they're really not. When you think about you're getting your accommodations, your entertainment activities, certain dining, like all your meals will be covered.
yeah,
But it's not going to be expansive, and certain beverages. That's not all because there's going to be
yeah.
make it an all-inclusive package on a cruise. On a mainstream contemporary cruise line, you're going to have to add a lot to it to make it all-inclusive.
Yeah.
For
So,
example.
like, you have your specialty dining, you have your premium beverage packages, gratuities, which I always advise my clients to
Or
add on in the get go.
It's
I
not
kind of
even
quote it.
it's not even beverage packages, it's just the beverages
Yeah.
itself, your
Yeah.
alcohol, bottled waters, sodas, things like that.
And then we have the shore excursions, always at a cost on a mass market cruise line. Your Wi Fi, they love making money off of Wi Fi now.
Oh,
Everybody's
that's
going to
huge,
Starlink, which is way cheaper than what they were doing before. And then they're really charging you for your Wi
it's
Fi.
huge.
The spa, some of them charge for room service on some of the
Or
ships.
a fee, like, at least at a minimum, you'll have, like, a $7.95 delivery fee.
Yeah,
Where it used to be, you'd have a very expansive room service menu and you could get whatever you want all for free. And
yeah,
7.95 might not sound like a lot, but if you're someone that likes in the afternoon to go back to your cabin every day and have, some snacks and beverages on your balcony, it adds up.
Oh, I'm that person that goes to the buffet and puts together my little plate and takes it back to the cabin with me.
Mhm.
I
Oh,
have no problem doing that. Like, I would go and get what I want from up there and take it back to the cabin. I don't know if that's allowed or
oh,
frowned upon, but I
it
do it.
on Royal Caribbean, they have, as part of their desserts, you could get, like, a cheese platter. You can ask them to wrap it up, and you can take it back to your cabin if you
Yeah.
want and have your little charcuterie.
So, yeah. So there's ways to get around the delivery charges of the room service when you self-deliver. Let's put it that
It
way.
will you
So,
self-deliver, but I'm just saying that those charges can add up, and you're not
yeah,
realizing it. I'm going back, I'm ordering room service a couple times a day or whatever, and people do it, and the next thing you know, you're socked with charges, and you didn't realize because you thought all of this was
yeah.
included. in your
That's why when I'm booking mass market lines for clients, a big part of the conversation is what their expectations are and what inclusions they would like to have. And
uh
then I try to tell them, you need to purchase a lot of this stuff before getting on board. You're going to get the best pricing usually, right? So you keep an eye out on your app for the beverage package, for the Wi-Fi packages they sometimes put on special. I
right.
know people luck out on Royal Caribbean all the time because I guess their system for the beverage packages is kind of on demand. So if they're having a high demand, it goes up. If it's not, the prices go down.
I mean, 'cause
So
I've
yeah,
seen on Royal beverage packages could be anywhere. I've seen it from like $54 per person per day all the way up to 80 something dollars per day.
yeah.
Except for the one time several years ago in 2019, there was I remember this because I took advantage of it. There was a glitch in Royal Caribbean system. For 6 hours, they were advertising their beverage packages for as low as $16 per person per day. We had 2 cruises. We had back-to-back cruises. We had a week-long Mediterranean cruise followed by a 2-week transatlantic cruise. I tell you, I hopped on those beverage packages because Royal Caribbean honored the price. When they realized there was a glitch, they honored the price, which is very rare. Normally they, pull it back.
Yeah.
But then COVID happened and we had to cancel all our cruises and all our
So
packages.
then you lost your beverage package.
And that killed me more than canceling the cruise because they wouldn't allow you to transfer it to another future cruise,
Oh
honestly.
no, they caught
Oh, no.
that mistake and they
Oh,
have.
that killed me. Pain, they're just right there. I still
So when we're looking in the mass market realm, you have to look at the math of what it's really going to cost you. So a cruise that may start out at $1,000 could end up very easily being 1,600 or more once you add in gratuities, beverage packages, specialty dining per night, your shore excursions. So that lead-in fare,
yeah.
right, can be very misleading because it's not including as much as some people think. So when it's first time to cruising, you really have to kind of explain to people what you're going to get in the basic cruise fare.
You have to remember when you see those advertisements, and you'll see something like starting at $360 per person or per
Yeah.
cabin. You have to remember that's the absolute cheapest fare on the ship. So that's like an interior guarantee. You can't choose your cabin,
Yep.
interior, and it just goes up from there. And that's exclusive of any other additions, that might have the tax
Yeah.
and fees include that probably doesn't have the taxes and fees included. Something to keep in mind when you see those really cheap fares advertised, it's not what you're going to pay in the end. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
So then our next jump up is the premium. So Celebrity, Holland, American Princess. And often now included with all of them, they have various promotional packages with their fares that you can buy into, making it more of an inclusive experience from the get-go, from the jump. They kind of bundle these packages with basic beverage package, which includes quite a bit of your alcohol and all that, and then basic Wi-Fi for like 1 or 2 devices.
and
So
and just
initially, the fare may be a little bit more,
Mhm.
but when you look at the value
Yeah.
being added with the package and the Wi-Fi, or if you had to go and pay for it separately, a lot of times it is a good deal.
So my clients are going on a Holland America Alaska cruise next year, and they are getting their Wi-Fi. They're getting a beverage package. They have some specialty dining and shore excursion credit included in there.
Yeah,
So while they're still not a totally 100% all inclusive because it doesn't include the gratuities, they're getting
yeah,
very close to that level. And I'd like to purchase. We've talked about beverage packages, especially on the mainstream cruise lines. Please note you are never ever obligated to purchase a beverage package, and you need to do them
yeah,
as if it is worth it to you. Because for some people, you're not going to drink that much, and it's not. I just want to let people know there is always the a la carte option.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, I for me the a la carte option works because I am not a big drinker. So maybe 2 cocktails each per day, even if they're costing $20 each per cocktail. If a beverage package is $80 each for the day, even if we spend $80 a day on cocktails between the two of us, we're still saving money by not getting the
right.
beverage
Like
package,
we had a
So
beverage package once, and were we saving money? I mean, I guess we were saving money over what we ordered, but we always felt like we had to have a drink in our hand. We always felt like,
yeah, no, you feel like you have to drink more
and
because you
it's
paid
not
for it.
us. So now we're Diamond on Royal Caribbean. We get 4 free drinks a day, and because of our casino play, I get free drinks in the casino. So, like, a
Yeah.
beverage package is, like, stupid for me. But just letting
Yeah.
people know there's always an à la carte option, and you don't need a beverage package. Cruise lines have done a really good job at making you think you have to get those packages.
Yeah.
Honestly, you don't. If it's not
What
worth
you need is Wi-Fi. That's what you
Absolutely.
need, and they're overcharging for it. So
Mhm. So the premium lines do have the packages that can be added on, and those do get your cruise to a very close to an all-inclusive experience. Now, when you go up a level and you're going into the luxury area, the luxury realm of cruising, that is where you're going to start getting all-inclusive experiences.
yeah.
You can really start calling your trip all-inclusive at that point.
But really and truly, if you look at it, when you go from luxury to ultra luxury,
Mhm,
because of how certain cruise lines have gone and redone how they're selling, the
mhm,
only truly all-inclusive luxury line right now is Regent Seven Seas.
mhm. And what we're
Right?
saying
Silver Seas is now giving you shore excursion credit,
Mhm,
whereas they used to include the shore excursions. And quite frankly, the shore excursion credit is not that great. I don't know how much shore excursions you're gonna get for that credit.
right.
So the only true all-inclusive cruise line to me is Regent Seven Seas.
Because what you're getting on that is you're getting all your shore excursions, um,
Yeah.
all your gratuities, all your specialty dining, all your beverages, and I think
Yep.
business class air, at least.
Business class air on certain itineraries, yes, is included in the cruise fare. So that one you could build out and market as all inclusive.
Yes. Yeah.
Silver Seas and Seabourn, they come close, but they're not there because they're just some things that are not included. So,
And you need to
um,
do the math on this because you might see at first glance, you'll look at the price of your Regent cruise and you might get a little sticker shock at most. But then if you start thinking about it and you start comparing it to other cruise lines and start breaking it down and thinking, okay, if I booked on X cruise line and then had to start adding all these um, additions in, and you can see that pricing online, well, guess
yeah.
at that point, you might as well be booking.
Good case study is Alaska. I offered Alaska to my clients on
Mhm,
Regent. She had done scenic and stuff before River, and she's just a celebrity client. I said, let's look at Silver Seas and Regent. And when we looked at Silver Seas, they weren't any longer including the shore excursions, and the price point was starting higher
mhm.
than Regent Zone. So they ended up going with Regent. When I went to book, there was a promotional fair going on. So what I initially quoted that she was fine with, it was like $3,000 cheaper
Yeah.
overall, right? And their friend has got quoted Holland America, and what he's paying for Holland America to spend a little bit more money up front with Regent, he would get a far better experience, in my opinion, and greater value in what he's paying for.
Mhm.
So,
So this is also where working with a good travel advisor comes in because we could break these down for you and show you the comparisons. That's our job. That's what we have the time to do. And we know the different lines. So that's also something to just keep in mind there.
yeah,
So um, that's cruising. So that's how cruising is often they throw around all inclusive, but it goes most definitely most of the time is not. Now where all inclusive is usually really truly associated with is resort vacations. So that's become a standard because all inclusive resort is probably a very misused phrase in the entire travel industry. But when you do get a true
yeah,
inclusive resort, it's truly all inclusive. So let's discuss what a typical all-inclusive resort, say in the Caribbean, typically covers. So you'll get all your meals. Then they generally have several different restaurants, and generally you'll have your snacks as well. You will get
yeah.
basic liquor, beer, and house wines. Non-motorized water sports, and what that means are like paddle boats, kayaks, things like that.
Snorkel gear, yeah.
Snorkeling gear. Resort entertainment and activities, and that includes your pools, your beach access, whatever entertainment they've got going, as well as kids programming.
And that varies widely. Not all resorts have great kids programs. Again, this is why you work with agents
Right.
that
They're
know the
not all
area, know the
created
resorts.
Mhm.
Yeah, you want to make sure that if it is that that's going to be an important factor for you, you make that known from the get-go so they can put you in the right resort.
And gratuities are sometimes included. And don't get me wrong, because this is, you could easily get away with doing your vacation just at that standard all-inclusive amenities that we just listed and not pay another day.
Yeah.
You could easily do that, and I have done that before, so for many. But what's almost never included that needs to be added on to make it truly all-inclusive, airport transfers. Now, we often include it
Yeah.
in our packaging, but that is actually an additional price to what the resort
Price on
charging.
top.
Maybe there's some specialty dining that they have. They're similar to a cruise line that you want to do. That'll cost you. Premium liquor often in some resort chains. And again, not all
Yeah.
inclusive resort chains are created equal. So you might pay extra to get the premium spirits, the imported wines, the champagne. Of course, almost always spa treatments, salon treatments, motorized water sports. And so that's jet skis, parasailing, scuba,
Yeah.
and your gratuities often. Wi-Fi is often included in your package, but you might need to maybe do an upgrade if you want the remote.
Yeah, because usually it's slow, the included Wi-Fi.
Now, I will say
So,
some brands like sandals, I can easily say that is pretty truly all inclusive. It's at a higher price point, but they
yeah.
include your motorized and your non-motorized water sports, including 2 scuba dives a day. They're including your premium alcohol. They are including your gratuities. Hyatt, Ziva, and Zilara, they are pretty truly all inclusive as well. So
So, yeah, all inclusive. Again, it's going to vary by resort. They're going to vary by the level. I mean, there's 3-star all inclusive resorts and there's 5-star all inclusive resorts. Usually, as you go up the stars, the more the inclusions would be. Maybe the better quality liquor. Maybe you might get different dining thrown in, the options that are included. So, it's really like you really need to
but
qualify what you want to
again,
do.
but still, with an all-inclusive resort, you could easily take the basic all-inclusive resort package a lot of the times and go in again, not spend an additional dollar. Then you've had your all-inclusive experience. Now you just need to look at the price point and you need to look at what is included. Because again, as we were talking about the cruises, it could easily be, you need to look at the value at what you're getting. Yes, is sandals and beaches, are they at a higher price point? Yes, but you were getting a lot. You were getting for at beaches, outstanding kids clubs. You are getting the
Yeah.
motorized, non-motorized water sports. So if you're a diver, you're getting those 2 dives a day in there. And
Yeah.
that's huge. Um,
You get the specialty dining restaurants included in like
yeah.
sandals and
So
beaches. You have to make your reservations, but it's available to you.
mhm.
And there's always a buffet option throughout the day at lunch, breakfast, usually at dinner time too. That if you don't want to go sit in a restaurant, and then like especially like sandals and beaches, they have those little food trucks all over the place
I
that are
love
pretty
those.
cool
I love
too.
those little food trucks.
Yeah,
But I'm gonna give an example again of where you need to actually look at the value and not just book on price. So I had a couple come to me a few years ago and they wanted a destination wedding in Jamaica. They were my cousins. It was my younger cousin and
yeah,
her fiancé. And they put together all different proposals for them. And honestly, they went with another travel agent because they said that travel agent was $50 cheaper than what I quoted them. Now, what I quoted them were truly all inclusive. Plus, I got them
right,
extras like discount on spa treatments. I got an extra
yeah,
like private dinner for the whole group and everything. And mine had transfers were included. So we get the wedding
yeah,
invitation and we see all the resort stuff in it. And I see, oh, here's the price of the resort. Transfers were extra. When you
yeah.
added in the transfers, guess what? That $50 savings
It
was,
was gone. Yeah.
so
Well, you
so
win
that
some, you lose some, and your family are usually the worst people to deal
is.
with. So
And,
I'm just like,
but
yeah,
and I use that as an example because that is definitely where they looked at price and not value. And remember, price is what you pay, value is what you get. Thank you, Warren Buffett.
hmm,
So that's all inclusives. What to consider when you're looking at the price and you're trying to book and make sure your vacation is all inclusive as possible.
sure. And then we're gonna do a little wrap up here, coming into the end. So everybody knows the EU has been trying to roll out the ETIAS. I'm
Right.
not sure how to pronounce it if I'm
I
speaking it
call
out
it
as a
ETIAS.
word.
I call it Eddie.
ETIAS. Yeah, but I know but it's the ETIAS system, which is going to be you go on a website, you pre-register to enter Europe.
It's a visa
This
waiver.
year,
It's a visa waiver like the UK electronic travel authorization. So this is a visa waiver for people that come from countries that do not need visas to enter the European Union. It's like an extra layer of security. And ETIAS, they've been talking and talking and talking and saying it was going to roll out at the last quarter of this year, the fourth quarter of 2026.
yeah.
What they have been saying forever, and it's not going to happen.
Well, I think what happened is they have been trying to implement the entry system that they're using, and some countries have seemed to have been able to do that portion properly, and others are having people stand up in the airport for 3 hours.
Right.
So basically, now when you go into Europe, you are going to have your fingerprint and picture taken.
And when you exit, it's an entry-exit system.
Yeah. Entry exit system, and that has been having some hiccups. So I think that's what's delaying the implementation of the
And by
ETIAS.
hiccups, we mean long lines.
Yeah,
It means
long lines, 2 hours.
get to the airport really early, because a lot of the countries have had a lot of delays, several hours of people standing in line to do this entry exit system. So as a result, I think, yeah, like you said, they're delaying the ETIAS to kind of hopefully make sure all the kinks are ironed out with the EES, just to let things settle down before they start adding another requirement for people. Yeah. So
that is our little.
So that's what's happening in the world of travel these days.
Yep. And we look forward to seeing y'all on our next podcast when we'll figure out what we're going to be discussing then.
So hope you learned something from this, and until next time, take care. Thank you for listening to Check Bags and Big Tags. When you're ready to book your next dream vacation, be sure to contact your local trusted travel advisor. If you liked what you heard today and want to hear more travel tips and tricks, be sure to hit subscribe and follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Check Bags and Big Tags. And if you have any questions about travel or topics you want to hear, just send us an email at checkbagsandbigtags@gmail.com. Thank you again for tuning in, and until next time, keep dreaming big and chasing those unforgettable adventures.
Live radio, local podcasts, the Frederick Podcast Network at listenfrederick.com.